Let's talk about crane flies. They are the focus of my attention right now. Other things, but definitely when I go outside, crane flies are my focus. And I didn't always know their names. I didn't know necessarily know what these things were all about. Here's what I know. They appear suddenly, they hoover awkwardly, and they disappear just as quickly as they came. And right now, as my favorite season starts to kick off, the weather is getting warmer. You can now go outside. And the big challenge, at least for me, because they tend to always give me eye infections. And I'm going to explain all of this in this live, are the crane flies, because they are everywhere. They literally, I don't know if you have them where you are, but certainly here we have them, and they come in this start of spring. They last only 2 or 3 weeks. They literally don't last long. They grow from tiny. At first they start out really, really tiny, and then over the days they're just growing and multiplying, and it's crazy. And they, as I said, they're everywhere. And I like to ride, I like to walk. And when I walk pretty fast. People, at least people tell me I'm a fast walker. I never feels that way, of course. But when you're with others, they go, you walk too fast. And invariably, even though I put on the glasses and the hat, and one of them get in my eye, and once that happens, I know what's going to occur, and I'm at the doctor, because sure enough, the next day or a couple of days after, my eye is the size of a mushroom. It's watering, it's itching, it's just infected. So this year, I decided to have a different approach. Rather than go through the crane fly season in fear, I mean, literally running from the car, running to the car, putting on all that I can to have my walks, and especially when riding, just covering up. I look crazy. I'm telling you, I look nuts. And it's all to protect me from these flies. This year, I took a different approach, right? I said, no, 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 no. I'm going to figure out and what these are, what their value is, because they have to have a value. I'm a nature child. I no longer want to just stamp on things and fluff them out. I'm looking to better understand these things. So I started to look them up, and they start underground in this kind of larva, and they come out in spring. And the larva is very nutritious for different birds and all that. So they are actually serving the ecosystem in an amazing way. Because and they're just here for a few short weeks. They apparently don't eat because of just how short. And they're here just long enough to get our attention, irritate us, and never long enough to actually settle. And what the abundance at which they come out, I mean, they cover the houses. Like it looks like the house is moving because they're so on the houses, they're on the grass. If you step on the grass, a whole bunch of them come up. So here's the thing. If you get these insects, bugs, whatever you want to put a name on them, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. And if you're not familiar with crane flies, I would actually encourage you to look it up, to look them up. They're harmless. They're absolutely harmless. They don't sting, they don't bite. So we should be loving them. We should truly be loving them and embracing them. Uh, and it's just they are such a nuisance. They rest on your car. They rest on the house. They rest on the grass. Like they're literally, when I say everywhere, I'm not overstating. And if you are familiar with this, put in the comments. Just share your experience with crane flies. And I'm doing it jokingly because I literally have finally, emotionally, gotten past crane flies. That doesn't mean they're not going to do what they do, and they're going to do it just as beautifully as they've always done it. My perspective has changed. I have decided to embrace them. I have decided not to be irritated by them. And just through those decisions, I've come to better understand their purpose and become more tolerant because of it. Because I've started to be able to look and say, isn't that how life often works? Right? I mean, they're here long enough to make us stop and notice. Um, and a moment, a sign, an insight that comes around, it shows up at just the right time, not to last, but to wake us up, to wake us up. And that's how I've started to look at crane flies. Because when I think of them, there's something fascinating about them. There's something fascinating about them. As I said, they don't eat, they don't sting. So their purpose isn't destruction. It seems more like transition. And that short lived moment is what we're actually witnessing. Imagine if we came into the world for just that short span of time. We're not like a crane fly. We have such lengthy time to make our mark in this world, in this life that we're living. So it reminds me of us. My new perspective has allowed me to see the crane fly and see an analogy to us, because so many of us are living underground. Metaphorically, of course, but we are mentally, emotionally, energetically. We're working, we're pushing, we're surviving. And that sometimes there's that wake us up moment where we can have a breakthrough. And there's that small window to rise, to fly, to shift. So now I look at the crane flies and I actually sit, and when I come in with the car and they start coming down, I sit and I actually observe them. And now I get out and I walk with a different assurance to the house. I still don't want to be out when they're like literally flying around, because it's like a mass, that's a dark mass that's moving. It's not that you necessarily, I want to stay in amongst them, but I have a greater perspective on them. And because I can see the analogy to ourselves, that also enhances how I look at them. And I can align that to reboot, because that is what reboot is. It's your emerging, and it's that your window, it's that small window that's there that you can grow and become as you step through. So, reboot gives us this brief yet powerful moment where you can get tools, support, and guidance to change your trajectory. And just like the crane fly, the window isn't open forever. Life will keep moving. The habits, the exhaustion, the noise that we live beneath, it'll return. It'll still be there if you don't choose differently. And the question becomes, what will each of us do? What will you do with your moment of emergence? What will you do with that spark to notice, to wake up, to see that there's an opportunity there for you? If this speaks to you, then maybe, just maybe, this is your crane fly season. Your time to stop hiding under the surface and let Reboot be your guide. Not forever, just long enough to change everything. Check out the link in the description and just explore. Become curious enough to explore the possibilities. And until then, I'll get through the next 2-3 weeks of crane fly season. Until next time.